You were taught how to get a man to choose you. Think about it. You were taught how to look, how to flirt, how to be interesting, how long to wait before texting him back, how not to seem too eager, how to make him miss you, how to become the kind of woman a great man would want. Easy to deal with. But who taught you how to choose him? Not how to attract him, not how to keep him interested, not how to get the relationship and get the provider. I mean, how do you look across the table at a man you really like and determine whether he actually has the character, the emotional stability, the values, and the partnership skills to build a life with you? Because those two are completely different skill sets. Most of us were trained almost exclusively in the first one. Welcome to the playbook. I'm Amanda Carroll. And around here, we're talking about something I think women should have been taught a long time ago: how to make one of the most important decisions of your life, who you build life with. And today we're running the Choose Well play. Because I don't just want you to find a man who wants you. I can get you in a committed relationship in 5 dates or less. That's my promise. I want you also, though, to know how to recognize that man who's actually right for you. Those are not the same thing. And by the end of today's episode, I'm going to give you 4 things I want you evaluating while you're dating. And one question I want you to start asking yourself after every date. Because I think this one question alone can completely change the way you date. Quickly, before we get into this, if you're already listening thinking, Amanda, where was this information 10 years ago before I married my ex? I get it, girl, same. That's exactly why I created my free live training. It's called The Game Plan. Every Monday, I'm teaching women how to stop guessing their way through dating and start using an actual strategy to recognize the right man sooner and stop wasting months or years on the wrong one. And it's completely free. I teach it live on Monday, 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. Even if you're not dating right now, this is going to give you the confidence to put yourself out there, because now you've got the framework so you can trust that you can choose a healthy partner. So go grab your seat through the link in the show notes, okay? All right, now let's run today's play. I want you to think about how much information women receive about being desirable. There are entire industries built around this. Look younger, get fitter, take more peptides, dress better, be confident, be mysterious, don't be too available, be independent. But God forbid you be intimidating, have standards, and don't be too picky. Be interesting, be fun, be sexy, be wife material. And underneath almost all of it is the same question: will he want me? So then we start dating, and what do we ask? Does he like me? Is he attracted to me? Will he text me again? Is he going to ask me out? Is this going somewhere? Will he commit? Does he see me as relationship material? Is he going to choose me? Meanwhile, we're so busy trying to determine whether he's choosing us that we're not asking the far more important question: should I choose him? That's the question. Because getting a man to want you isn't the goal. Finding a man worth building a life with is. So stop auditioning for the relationship long enough to interview the man you're considering building it with. You are not there just to impress him. You're gathering information too. Let me tell you about a woman. I'm going to call her Lauren. Lauren was 38, great career, owned her own home, great friends, well-traveled, took care of herself. She was the woman everyone else called when they needed advice. Really smart woman. She hired me to help her. And she just ended another relationship with a man who, in hindsight, has been wrong for her almost from the beginning. And here's why this matters. On paper, there was a lot to like. Like, he was attractive, super ambitious, confident. Their chemistry was immediate. He planned great, fabulous dates. He knew exactly how to make her feel wanted. And Lauren was really good at noticing those things. But here's what she wasn't weighing heavily enough. He was really inconsistent. He avoided having any difficult conversations, very surface relationship. He made promises very easily, but kept them selectively. When things were good, oh, he was charming. When things got difficult, he just became distant, emotionally unavailable. His life looked impressive from the outside. Great car, great house. But there wasn't much evidence that this man actually knew how to be a partner with a woman, especially an amazing woman like Lauren. And here's the kicker. Lauren saw those things. This wasn't a case of her being clueless. She saw them. She just didn't weigh them heavily enough. Instead, she kept waiting for the relationship to become what she thought it could become. And finally, she said something to me that I've heard from women over and over again. How am I this smart and still so bad at picking men? It's not your fault, I told her. Your intelligence is not the problem. You were simply trained to evaluate the wrong things. You can be exceptional at getting chosen and still have no idea how to choose well. And that's not because there's something wrong with you. Nobody handed you the scorecard. And I can say that because I learned this one the expensive way too. I was divorced at 35 with 3 kids. And when I look back at some of the decisions I made before that, I wasn't stupid. I wasn't incapable of making good decisions. I had a great college degree. I didn't need one more person telling me, Amanda, you just need to love yourself more. I needed a better framework because I knew how to notice attraction and feel chemistry and see potential and confidence and ambition and how someone made me feel. What I didn't know how to evaluate was what happens when the first date adrenaline wears off? What happens when you're sharing a mortgage payment, raising children, navigating illness, losing parents, making financial decisions, going through career changes, or just doing regular, boring Tuesday night life together? Because that's marriage, that's partnership. So when I eventually started dating again, I changed the assignment. I wasn't trying to become irresistible to some rich guy who could provide for me anymore. I could provide for myself. I wasn't trying to get every man I met to like me. I was trying to figure out who deserved access to the life I was building. And that shift changed everything. I eventually met my husband, Sean, on Hinge, very deliberately. And today we have this beautiful blended family. But the biggest difference wasn't that I suddenly became better at attracting the right man. I became better at deciding. Instead of, how do I get him to choose me? I started asking, what evidence do I have that I should be choosing him? This is where we get ourselves in trouble. We feel something. I get it. And then we assign meaning to it. Butterflies become, we must feel compatible. Chemistry becomes potential. Confidence becomes character. A great career becomes responsibility. Intensity becomes intention. And a man pursuing you hard becomes evidence that he must be serious. No, those things can tell you something, but they can't tell you everything. Attraction is information. It's not a verdict. Chemistry tells you there's chemistry. That's it. It doesn't tell you whether he keeps his word. He doesn't tell you whether he can regulate himself during conflict. It doesn't tell you whether your values align. It doesn't tell you whether he knows how to repair after he's hurt you. And it sure as hell doesn't tell you whether he's going to show up when life becomes really inconvenient. Enjoy the chemistry. I want you attracted to the man you're with. Please don't hear me saying attraction doesn't matter, okay? Or having a good job doesn't matter. I'm saying don't give chemistry and a job. Just don't give chemistry a job it's not qualified to do, okay? And a good job title is not enough. Plus, anybody can make that up. Butterflies are not a background check. So let's talk about the ambition side, because I know you, I know my women. I like ambition. I'm married to an ambitious man. And I'm not telling you to date someone you don't respect, but his resume and job title is not his character. There's got to be more. A man can run a company and be terrible at running a relationship. In fact, I think it's kind of hard to find both. You can do it though. I did. And I can help you. He can make $500,000 a year and be emotionally chaotic. He can command a boardroom and completely disappear when a conversation becomes uncomfortable and you feel so alone. Professional competence is great. It's not a substitute for relational competence. And I think this matters especially for successful women, because sometimes we're evaluating a man using the same markers we use to evaluate professional success. What's his job? How much does he make? Does he own a home? Is he successful? Is he driven? Is he educated? Those aren't bad questions. They're just incomplete ones, because you're not hiring a CEO. You're choosing the person who might be sitting beside you when your mother gets sick, when your kid is struggling and in trouble and in the principal's office. My husband has been there for me. When one of you loses a job, when your sex life goes through a rough season, when you're scared, when you're exhausted, when life is absolutely not Instagrammable. Who is he then? That is the man that you're choosing. Now we have to talk about one of my favorite life traps. Potential. You've heard me about this one, potential, because we love a future version of a man, don't we? We love it when he gets through his busy season, when he finally deals with his ex and gets the divorce wrapped up, when work comes down, when he's ready, when he's healed, when he realizes what he has. Girl, no. Potential tells you what might happen. Character tells you what already is. Date the evidence, date what is, not the projection. You're not hiring him for the position based on what he might become after some extensive training from you. You are deciding whether that man standing in front of you today, right now, is someone that you want standing beside you tomorrow and in 10 years. Potential is not evidence, okay? Now we're gonna get practical. If chemistry is not enough, if money is not enough, if ambition is not enough, if potential is not enough, what the hell do we look for? It's actually easy. I want you to start evaluating these 4 things. Number 1, character. Does he do what he says he's going to do? And don't answer that based on what he tells you about himself. Just watch. Does he follow through? How does he treat people who can't do anything for him? Does he tell the truth when telling the truth even makes him look bad? Does his behavior stay relatively consistent when nobody is watching? Because character isn't what a man tells you he values. Character is the pattern his life demonstrates. And here's something really important. Don't rush this part. You cannot collect 6 months of evidence in just 3 dates, okay? Time is useful in dating sometimes, but not too much time. Let him show you who he is. Let him show you who he is. All right, number 2, emotional stability. This one's huge. How does he handle disappointment? Can you disagree without the entire relationship suddenly feeling threatened? Can he hear feedback? Can he regulate himself? Like, can he say, you're right, I handled that really badly, I'm really sorry, without someone turning his apology into a trial about everything you've ever done wrong? Because I want you to remember this. You aren't just choosing the man sitting across from you at Friday night cocktails. You're choosing the nervous system that may someday sit across from you during the hardest season of your life. Like having a baby, losing someone close to you. Girl, choose accordingly. That's partnership. Number 3, compatibility. You can deeply like someone and still be wrong for each other. This is another thing we don't talk about enough. You don't have to turn him into a villain to decide he's not your person. He can be a lovely man and still want a completely different life. Does he want marriage? Does he want children? Where does he want to live? How does he think about money, family, career, faith, lifestyle? What does an ordinary Saturday look like to him? What kind of life is he actually trying to build? You don't need identical personalities, but you need 2 lives that can actually fit together. Okay? Listen, I met an incredible man right before I met my husband, and he became a really good friend of mine. And I tried to make it work and I couldn't figure out why. And I realized he was one of those guys who's labeled himself as polyamorous, wants multiple relationships. And I tried everything I could not to be mad and judge him, but inside I was mad and judging. But he told me who he was. He wasn't going to change. At least then I was smart enough to realize, okay, well, I'm just going to move on. I didn't sit around and wait. Don't wait for a man to change. Because when you do that, it's actually taking longer for you to meet your person. He's stealing time away from the person that you will get to meet, that will match everything, that will be the partner that you want to build a life with, not just the partner that can pay for the current life you're in, right? Number 4, partnership capacity. Does this man know how to be on a team? Not when everything is sexy and fun, when something needs to be handled. Like when your son throws a party at your house, when you're away on a trip with your new husband and the cops get called and you have to go home right away. Yeah, that happened to me. My husband didn't yell. He wasn't mad at me. We handled it. And it wasn't his son, it was mine. What happens when plans change? What happens when you're sick? It's always a very good test in a relationship. The first sickness, how does he take care of you? What happens when he's stressed? When somebody has to compromise, when the dishwasher breaks, when the baby has a fever, when a parent is dying, when somebody loses a job, when life gets boring, because eventually life gets very, very ordinary. And I think this is one of the biggest things we miss when we're dating. We constantly evaluate, well, is he fun to date? Instead of, would he be good to do life with? Those are different qualifications. The qualities that make someone really exciting to date are not always the same qualities that make someone healthy to build a life with. That other guy, oh yeah, we went to Vegas, helicopter rides, all the things, but he wasn't going to be my person. Romance gets you into the relationship. Partnership determines whether you're happy you stayed, okay? So if you're listening right now thinking, holy shit, I have never evaluated men this way. That's exactly why I want you in the game plan. Because here's what I don't want for you. I don't want you spending another 6 months trying to figure out whether the inconsistent man is just busy. I don't want you giving another year to somebody's potential. I don't want you 3 years into a relationship discovering that the thing you thought was chemistry was actually just instability and chaos, and your brain is used to that, so somehow you're attracted to it. And I don't want you blaming yourself afterwards and asking, how did I miss this? You need a strategy for what to look for before your heart gets so invested that you start explaining away the evidence. You need a strategy to give you confidence to put your heart out there again and start dating. Now that you know, okay, I can trust my picker because I have this blueprint. That's exactly what I'm teaching inside the game plan. It is my free live training Monday, 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to show you how to recognize what matters earlier. So stop wasting time on men who can't give you the relationship that you want and start dating with an actual plan. It's free. It's live. The link to save your seat is in the show notes. So come hang out with me this coming Monday. Okay, now back to Lauren, my client. Here's what I love about Lauren's story. She didn't need lower standards. She just needed better ones. She stopped making attraction her first and most important filter, and his ambition, his job title, and how much money he made her second. She stopped treating a man's interest in her as evidence of his sustainability for her. And she stopped spending months trying to decide whether somebody who had already shown her who he was might eventually become someone different. The biggest change wasn't Lauren got better at dating or she had a sexier profile. No, Lauren got better at deciding who she didn't want to waste her time on, which made it faster to meet the person that was worth her time and building a life with. That's what I want for you. So grab your journal or open up your notes app. If you've been listening to this podcast, you know how we do it. It is time to run the play, okay? I'm calling this one the Choose Well play, and I want you to actually do this one, okay? Not just listen to me while you're driving and go, oh my God, Amanda, that is so true. Okay, let's just pause it and come back. We're doing the homework. Step 1. Write down your last 3 serious dating choices. Not the guy you went to coffee with twice, the men who you genuinely wanted, the ones who you invested in. Write down their names, okay? Step 2, under each name, I want you to write what initially attracted me to him. Be honest. It's okay. No judgment. We've all been there. Looks, confidence, career. Oh, he was a doctor. Chemistry, charm, sexual attraction, how intensely he pursued you, how he made you feel. No judgment. We're just collecting evidence. Step 3. Now I want you to write what eventually made the relationship unworkable. Inconsistency, emotional unavailability, different values, lack of commitment, dishonesty, poor communication, instability. Were you carrying the entire relationship? Did he want a fundamentally different life than you and you were just waiting for him to change his mind? Now put those 2 lists next to each other because this is where your pattern may become very interesting. What were you selecting for versus what eventually ended the relationship? That's the gap. And here's the easiest part of this entire episode. Step 4, on your next date, I want you to change one question. When you leave, instead of immediately wondering, does he like me? Ask, what did I learn about his character on this date? That's it. You don't need to decide if you're marrying him. You don't need to decide whether he's the one. Just collect another piece of evidence. What did I learn about his character? Then go on another date. Collect more evidence about his character, not necessarily how good he is in bed. That's okay. No judgment here. Because dating isn't just about being evaluated. You're evaluating too. And this is where I want to leave you today. You do not need more men to choose you. You need to become extraordinarily good at choosing the right one. And if this episode made you realize today, wait, nobody actually taught me how to do this, I want you with me on Monday, not someday, this coming Monday. Come to the game plan. It's the free live training I wish somebody had given me before I spent years learning these lessons the expensive way. We're going to talk about why smart, ambitious women like you can be incredibly strategic in every other part of your life, and then walk into dating armed with little more than chemistry and hope and a list. I'm going to show you how to change that, how to stop investing months or years in men who were never equipped to give you the relationship and build a life that you want together, how to recognize the evidence sooner, how to stop dating potential, and how to walk into your next relationship knowing I'm not here hoping to be picked. I'm here to choose really well. That's the shift. It's also the thing that gives you confidence. Even if you're not evaluating some guy right now, you're evaluating yourself and your ability to make a right choice because maybe you're beating yourself up for the wrong choice. Give yourself an unreasonable amount of grace because that's what you deserve. Arm yourself with this information in the game plan and then start to date with that intention. And girl, it will go so fast to meet a partner because you're not going to be wasting time on the wrong ones. The game plan is completely free, live on Monday, noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. Just hit the link in the show notes and save your seat. And send this episode to the woman in your life who is brilliant, ambitious, has all her shit together, and keeps asking, why can I not figure this part out? Would you send it to her? Because maybe she doesn't need fixing either. Maybe nobody ever taught her what to measure. You know how to make important decisions. You've done it your entire adult life. This isn't the one area where your intelligence all of a sudden stops working. You just weren't taught what evidence to collect. So stop making being chosen the prize. Choose well yourself. That is the play. Run it. I'll see you next week. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next play you can run in your life to get the love life that you've always deserved. Thanks for joining me.